Everybody cut out much!
Hello, folks. This is for entertainment and educational purposes. Don't risk money you cannot afford to lose. Today is September 17th, Wednesday, and we took 13 trades today, up $61, mostly on CDT. We have a lot to cover, so let's move on. Today, we took 8 winning trades versus 5 losers, and we doubled our winnings, 1086 to 509. So on CDT, we took 8 trades, 5 wins and 3 losses, and that's what gave us the wins for the day. So we started out at 5:30, came in a little late. As opposed to other mornings, we did not see huge moves early, and CDT was hanging on, and it looked like it had an opportunity. I was a little bit groggy, still setting up OBS, and needed to step away from my desk, so I quickly went in, but at the top. So, of course, I wouldn't find that out until later. But nevertheless, we felt it was a good move. If you like our videos, like and subscribe, leave your comments, questions, suggestions, advice. Obviously, if somebody gives me advice in your comments down below, you see something I'm doing wrong, I'm open. I think of the world as an open forum for all of us to contribute to make everyone better. So if we can make everyone a better trader, then by all means, let's do it. So while we continue to watch, now this is a long video because I held it quite a bit of time. And so there's a lot to discuss. But it was staying up at the top, and I felt it was okay. On retrospect, in the past few days, what I've been doing is going in with small share size. I don't know what caused me. I think it was the cost, that this was a penny stock that just said, oh, well, a little less than $200, no big deal. But the one thing that did have me concerned was the Zurich MACD down below, which was starting to curve in a way that, up ahead, there are issues and problems. You'll also notice that I cleaned up the chart, the 1-minute chart a little bit. Thinkorswim, the guys over at Thinkorswim have a zero lag EMA indicator. You can go onto their website and check it out. Michael Richardson's the guy who wrote it, and it looks pretty clean. So what I did is I removed the VWAP, and I removed the other EMAs that I had, and I opted for this one just to watch it. I think this one has the price line to 20 and the 50 there. I think later on in the video I will add the VWAP, just because I've been having good success with stocks coming out of trying to reach the VWAP, and I like to see that. So it's early. We're about 2 minutes into the trade, and there were other stocks, but they weren't really picking up. SPRC was picking up yesterday on news. An Israeli company, I think, gave out a contract for defense of missiles. And I went in yesterday, and I tried a couple of trades, and I lost $3 the first time. And then when SPRC was moving, I happened to be online working on the scripts, so I went in and made my $3 back. So we're looking forward to this morning. I looked at the mobile at 1 a.m. Pacific, which is 4 a.m. Eastern, and I think there was one stock who had moved up $4 or $5, but nothing great. So here, our trend reversal, I left it in. I shortened it just to the letter R, and that way it doesn't cover up our bars. And of course, I did not trust it. I thought that it was gonna go up, that it was gonna go back up. I should know better. Now, I wanted to make this video short, and I was gonna cut this out, but I thought of it, and I said, no, you know what? It's important that if somebody out there is watching the mistakes I'm making, that they know exactly where my mistakes were. So one of my mistakes here was going in a little too eagerly, way up there. I think we're in at 89 cents. So, when we got back down to 88, 87, that would have been a cut. Certainly down to 80, that would have been a cut. So my thought was that it was gonna come down to here, right around 80, and reclaim back up again quickly, but it didn't happen. And I think maybe VVOS had something to do with it. Came out with news, and that one was moving up, and it had a little bit of volume, but it was short-lived. CWD was also making noises, but that was even less. It had even less strength in life. So this is actually a very good training trade that I did here, and I think I'm going to put together another video after this one, just focusing on this trade by itself. You can see we started about 5:36 there on the clock, and we see it's 5:41 Pacific already. And it's just building ahead. It's not a Christmas tree exactly, but certainly ahead. And of course, we see the cyan line up there. And what we want is we want the cyan line above the blue line, because then we know the price action is moving, and above the magenta line as well. The one thing that gave me confidence, and one part of the reason why I held it, was that even though we see a lot of red on the volume, the MACD there did not dump. Typically, when you see a stock that is completely done, you'll see that blue line dip and point downwards. The MACD wasn't doing that in this case. It hit 70 cents, but it continued to level off as opposed to digging a deeper hole. So, well, I thought I was going to start off the day really, really bad with $33. Again, it's not bad at all. So 5:43 a.m. and we're still not seeing anything else coming through. CWD fizzled out. VVOS begins to die, even though it had news. And I think that was a good thing for us, because that let folks concentrate on CDT and continue to push it. And I think that's where my confidence came in, was the fact that people continued to buy it. This was the 20-minute, 5-minute, 20-minute pullback, 20 cent pullback. And that on the 5-minute there, that bar with the long tail wick at the top, certainly scary. Now, it's important for folks to understand that holding something, it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't matter how many cents it goes down to this level, is not normal. I am a stubborn trader. When I chose the 200 shares to go in on a penny stock, uh, I knew that I was risking some money. And at this point, I wasn't ready to risk more than $40 or $50, but $50 to me would have been fine as a loss. I mean, not fine, it would have been a mistake, but trading is about timing, about making good choices, and also about making mistakes. And you cannot learn from your mistakes. You cannot learn from only winning. You have to learn from mistakes. And these mistakes will repeat. These conditions will repeat. I will keep making the same mistakes until it repetitiously I begin to understand and learn not to make these mistakes of holding that this long. Earlier in the first week in September, we had a day there where we lost $300, and that was a huge mistake. So here we understand that it is quite difficult, but again, I sort of calculated that it was going to pick up, and you begin to see the bars, they start to lighten up or darken in one case, and it begins to pick up. And typically about 5:46 is my own chosen select time for when stocks become when the selection of good stocks or stocks that are going to move up begins. And that's what I thought. And even though CDT was not at the top of the gap up list, it just went on there. CWD dropped, VVOS loses momentum, and the others are basically very low in volume. And here are trend reversals, turns purple, saying that there might be a reversal coming up. So we've held it down to what, almost 70 cents. So there was no point in selling here to try to get out with only $29 loss. And to go through this, it takes nerve. And it's not going to work on every trade. It's not going to work on every single symbol. And it's something that you're going to get lucky like I did today, I think. I am by no means professing that I am a great guru that knew this stock would reclaim and recover. But I'm giving the end away. So let's continue to watch. There's a long tail wick there on that bar up at the top. And at this point, I would be wondering whether or not that trend reversal is true and whether we're going to lose more. But I continue to keep an eye on level 2 and on the active trader and time and sales. And interestingly enough, when I'm in a trade, especially one like this, my focus now, what I'm showing you guys is windows combined from 2 monitors. I have the charts on one monitor, and I have the active trader window, the watch lists, the time and sales, and the level 2 on another monitor. And I bring those windows together in the middle, so I'm watching 2. And the reason I did that is because I had gotten used to watching the charts too much, and I had heard some folks say you should really focus on level 2 and you should focus on time and sales. And I said, well, if I do that, I can't see the chart. But we have to remember the charts are after the fact. They're only plotting what has happened. And that's important to know. And they're good for reference, and especially with the EMA lines being there, because, they let you know whether something is trending or not, or which way it is trending. So now that I have the 2 monitors, the windows separate, I don't focus as much on the chart. I do look at the chart out of my left eye, but my focus in my right eye is on the on time and sales, level 2, and the active trader window, because I'm looking at price. So I'm focused on what I was given, where I went in, and this 89 cents here, and I'm watching where folks are selling and buying, and I'm watching the number of bids and the number of asks. And I've noticed that I do very well when the active trader window and level 2 show larger numbers of bids and asks. So if you typically see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on either side, like higher price stock would be something up $15, $19. I don't do as well. But at lower price stocks, especially when you see numbers like this, 25, 30, 15, 110, those type of numbers really substantiate that there is volume and that things are moving up. Even though one of the problems with penny stocks is, of course, the price is four decimal digits. So we continue to watch, and we see that the MACD is almost about trying to head up, and the EMAs are starting to move, and we get a good boost right here. Now we're feeling a little bit more confident. Now, in retrospect, what I should have done is right below 80 cents is added, because at this point, I knew that it was going up. And remember, we were down $37 at one point, and the ideal thing would have been buy. But this large bar bugs me, because these large bars can sometimes typically just, extend themselves and be green for 10, 20 cents and then drop 15 or 16 cents. And if you go in with size, then it becomes a problem. So having learned my lesson, I guess I was a little bit fearful of jumping in with more, and I decided not to. And I decided to just stick it out and wait it out. So now it's 5:52, and we got into this trade about 5:36. So it's about 16 minutes. Long hold. And again, I'm watching the gap up list, and CDT is there. I'm watching the other watch list that I have there called tradepicks, and CDT is remaining at the top, both for volume and for activity. And all the other stocks around it, on top and below it, are not moving up. You see there's a little bit of red there. So one of the things about day trading is you're supposed to go in, pick your right entry point, quickly exit a minute or two, less than that. But when you think about intraday trading, I mean, you could potentially hold a stock for the duration of the stock market. It could be 4 or 5 hours. Naturally, if you're down on it and you lose, you're not going to want to hold it. So here would have been a great point to add, right? But I still said, you know what? I want to be careful. I don't want to flush. I don't think it's going to flush. It has plenty of support at 73 cents. And it probably has built support at 80 now. But there was still a lot of red in time and sales. And so we were going to take a chance. So here we begin to think about getting out, scaling out. And I opted not to scale because it was only 200 shares. But I said, you know what? We got to pick a safe exit point at this point. Let's not risk doing that again. So we're at 554 from 536. And we say, you know what? We recovered. We paid our dues. But this time, the MACDs are starting to show that they're leveling off as opposed to flying higher. So I have my line there, 97 cents. That would have been a good place to exit, but I didn't want to pull. The trigger, I thought, oh, well, let's wait for it. It might hit $1 and it'll be a story to tell. And you notice how the MACDs picked up, but I tried to sell, I couldn't, it didn't accept. And of course, I'm an idiot trying to sell on the bid when I should have been selling on the ask. There we go. Now you're over the right button. If the stock's moving up, sell on the ask. If the ask is high enough. So we get out, make $5.12. We're happy with that. And it's now 558. And of course, I should have held it because it starts coming back up. It does hit $1. And we jumped in. And this time we're a little bit more sure of ourselves because we know it's built up support and it's not going to go back to 73. It's past that 93 line there. So we jump in. And that here's what I was talking about. There's a large green bar. We jump in at the top and it pulls back. But at this point, we start to see good volume coming in. Sales hits 108. And we exit at the top. Now, there was more video there, but I cut it out and just to show you guys how it dropped afterwards. But we go back in. This time with only 100 shares. We believe that this is a two bar minute pullback. And I think in this one we lost. I think we lost about $4, almost 5, I think. But yeah, here we weren't going to wait around. And you see it recovers. So we go right back in. But now our trend reversal says, hey, this could be going down. And so we're still being careful. And even though the Zurich MACD is almost closed, and it looks like it's going down, we went back in. And there we get out, and that was a $5, I think. Was it $4.60 loss there? But we continue to watch it later. It's now 6:25, closer to the open, and you can see there that it did drop. That trend reversal was correct. It just didn't. It would have been nice to have it showed up before, but like I said, the indicators repaint what has occurred in the past, not what's going to happen in the future. They cannot predict the future. And at 625, I think there was no other stocks that were moving, and I decided to focus on CDT by itself. And so we were up $43, which we had built a tiny cushion. At least for a small account, it's a nice cushion to have. But we still had quite a bit of cash in settled funds left to utilize. And my thought was, I'm just going to hold for the Fed decision news, and maybe the market will pick up and there'll be a stock that'll be heading high. But seeing how there were stocks moving up, I decided to just gradually spend the cash and see what I could do. Now you see here, I added the VWAP back in. It's there, that yellow broken line there. And it, so at this point, it's hovering over the VWAP, and that's why I had gone in, because I'm thinking there's going to be a VWAP. What is it, a dead cat bounce? I think the last time I thought that was going to happen, I got a dead cat instead of a dead cat bounce. And volume had dwindled down, and you see that on time and sales that the ticker is slowing down. But again, look at the numbers. The bids, 18325755. A good number of ask offers as well. And I think I think ATCH came in with news and started slightly moving up, as well as RELI. But RELI, I think, is a continuation from prior, and it moved up. And here we get our trend reversal saying, hey, that VWAP could have been a reversal. So we hold on. And looked like a good number of buyers coming in, but again, we're hoping that it'll pick up and go to high a day. And at this point, we're very close to the open. So if there's nothing else that has really taken over the market and moving, and CDT just moved up the top of the gap list. So we decide to hold it through the open. Here I'm switching my time enforced to day, because I want to set up a sell limit just in case it falls down. But it starts to pick up. And then we begin to see some whiptail action there. And we're not going to trust it. We're just going to get out. Now at 6:35, about 5 minutes later, you see there 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, and we have 2 big red candles, but it starts back up moving, so we opt to go back in. Again, in retrospect, it's having a hard time. The place to sell would have been at the top of that green candle right there. That's having a hard time making it back up. And here, what happens is SPRC begins to move up and take attention away from CDT, so we sell out. ATCH was another penny stock that was moving along, so we went ahead and made an offer, and finally gets filled. I made two offers. The one got refused at below 103, I think. And we thought there was a good opportunity here. And I don't like ATCH. The last time we traded it, it went back up and it went right back down, and I lost 3 or 4 times on 3 trades. So I wasn't about to trust it. Just get my $5 back and get out, even though I see that it did hit 175 in the afternoon. So GB was another one that was moving up, but we caught it a little too late. I had seen GB somewhere around 250, and I didn't like the fact that there was no volume, and I ignored it. And then all of a sudden, I looked down, and it's hit $3, and it's moving up. So we had our lines drawn, and that was the magenta line that we thought if it went over about 360, that it had an opportunity to go higher, and sure enough, it was doing that. But then again, if you see a stock here, I think it hits 411. I should have taken out my $2. Of course, we were only in with 20 or 30 shares, I think, 30 shares. So what I was calculating was, we bought in at 382, $4, with about $120, trying to make sure I had more cash for later trades. So GV today was my stubborn stock, I think, the one that I was trying to chase, and it just didn't have the strength to move up beyond 4. And at the same time, ACH is now at 105. But like I said, I didn't like ATCH because last experience I had was that it fell.
Yeah.
So and there was a good number of buyers and sellers in the active window and then level 2, but it just wasn't as big as what we had seen on CDT. So we scale out, and this was a almost $11 loss. And it's a good thing we did. I left that in purposely. So it recovers 4 minutes later. It looks like it's going to go again, try to hit high a day. And it hits that cyan line again, which was my self-imposed top. But and the one thing here on this stock that I should emphasize, going to the daily chart and drawing those support lines and changing the color so that you can be aware, you can look at the smaller charts and know where a stock is going to go, see what channels are your targets, is highly important. That has helped me quite a bit. Of course, that's not the only technical indicator you should use to trade. Hopefully by now, if you watch our videos, you'll notice that we watch a multitude of things. We don't remain static. If we if I go hunting for indicators about once a month or maybe sometimes once a week, and see something that I like, I might grab it and put it down, modify it, and then go in. And that you might be seeing something up at the top of the 1 minute chart there. The first one is E up. What that is saying is that the EMA's lines are the crossover lines are above. So, and the second one that reads stage accelerating is another one that I just found, which is part of that that works well in combination with this zero lag EMAs. So stage accelerating, it's off the screen. I couldn't fit it in. I'll have to look to see how I can fit it in. But it shows the different stages of where a stock is. And today it helped quite a bit because I was able to identify stocks that were accelerating, which is what you want. And if it drops out of accelerating, then it's either going to be in consolidation or bearish. And I don't trade to the downside, to the short side. So all I'm interested is in that stage accelerating stays high, that the E up remains high. And then I also use the price to the 20 EMA. I look at that percentage because relative to me, once the price line starts moving too far away from the 20, then there's an opportunity for it to flush down. So that's how I use those. And then the bid and the ask are good for reference. But I've gotten so used to looking at time and sales and level 2 that I ignore those bid and ask labels. So this was a bit of a long trade. I mean, we were down, the first trade, we were down 1052. And we're about to get done here on the second one. We should have gotten out closer to 418. We didn't. But, oh well. In the end, we do wind up getting out. We still get out green for 24 cents, which wasn't bad. And so we're done with this one and move on to the next one. CDT, we go back for more. Remember, like and subscribe. It costs nothing. It's totally free just to click those buttons for you. And it's now 7:14 a.m. and look at that move. And of course, I bought in at the top. At 105. But look at the numbers. 200, 100, 200. And it starts moving up. And now here, we're not going to overstay our welcome. We're start looking to scale out. We have to bought 200 shares. We see 112 at the top, and it might have an issue. And we opt not to scale out, and we just flat out. And that was a $19.86, almost 20 bucks, to take a 65 on the day, and right below the halt. And I left this part in here purposely. So it goes into the hole at 117, and this is the danger with halts. Yeah, you can stay in, or you can work to get the rollback and the reclaim. But if you hang in there too long, it might be a problem. And coming back from halts, while there are stocks that really rip, there are other stocks that do this. And they may not give you the opportunity to get out. So we were prepared to go back in with another 100, but we were going to watch that first and second bars there to see what it does. And as you can see here, as you will see shortly, the stock was done. So we made our 20 bucks and we got out. Look at that drop. And it goes into a halt down and it doesn't reclaim or recover. But GB was showing signs of life again, that it might get up. It looked at a good pattern. It looked like it could get up here up to BWAP and maybe press on. But this was a short cycle. I've mentioned before, I like it when a stock price falls way below BWAP, builds a nice belly, a huge belly, and then it comes back up. It drops once or twice, and then on a third try, it goes up. That's a pattern that I've got now drawn in my head. So briefly, we just get out. And that was a $2 loss. And then ATCH starts to show life again. And in retrospect, we went in with 100. We should have probably stayed, 125. And it went yet another 50 cents, which would have been a nice win. But, hindsight is 2020. We were already up 60 bucks, almost 60 bucks. But all the indicators here were good. Where volume is good, 5 minute is good, and all the MACDs line up. So we stay in and get out and make some money. Thank you for watching. If you got this far, have a wonderful day. Hope you made some money. We look forward to tomorrow. Good day.